Hello, everybody. I hope that you are all doing amazing today from whatever corner of the world and part of your day that you are tuning in from. We are going to do something a little bit different today. I am going to lead you through a story about the goddess Durga. We're going to have story time. And then I'm also going to lead you through some kirtan, some singing and chanting. And then I'll close everything off with a short guided meditation that will be surrounding the themes that we'll touch on today. So, kirtan and chanting is something that I really enjoy in my own personal practice, but for whatever reason, I just haven't brought it into my teaching. It's something that I've sort of kept private. And, part of that is because our studio as a whole, our community is just not really a kirtan chanting kind of community, and that's completely fine. It's not for everyone. But I thought that this was a really good opportunity for me to sort of let you in on that window of part of this practice. And in the spirit of the fact that a lot of us are trying new things in this time of uncertainty, and we're all home, and maybe we have weird schedules and more time where we can just sort of go off and do some things that we wouldn't normally do. I want to invite you to just be open to the possibility that you might really like it, and just be open to the possibility of participating in it if you choose to once we get to that portion. You can also participate by just listening. That's still participation as well. So, Durga is the mama goddess, and all of the other goddesses are birthed from her third eye center. And she is my very, very favorite goddess. Ever since I heard her story for the first time, I've just always felt a really deep connection to the themes that come up, to her specifically. If you've ever seen my tattoo on my thigh, that's Durga. She's amazing. And I guess before I get started, I should mention that this story relies heavily on this book, which is called Awakening Shakti by Sally Kempton. And if you don't have this book and you end up liking this whole little segment, go get this book. Order it from Left Bank Books, your local bookstore in St. Louis. And it's chock full of really, really great stuff. She goes through a ton of the goddesses. I return to this book so often. It's so, so, so good. Get this if you like this little meditation today and story. So back to Durga. Without getting too much into the backstory of things, I'll just say that in Hindu mythology, there's basically two sort of races of godlike beings, is how we can think of them. So the one is called the Devas. That group is called the Devas, and they are the light beings. So they're everything that, that might bring up whenever you think of light beings. They're the good guys, all the good stuff. And then the other side of things is called the Asuras. And they are kind of the demon gods, if you will. And they're the bad guys, that's how we would sort of typically think of them. They're driven by greed and by ego and, all of those things. And there's these two Asuras, and they would love to have, their greatest goal is to have dominion over everything. They want to rule the whole dimension. And so they petition Brahma, who is the creator god. They petition him to basically have control over everything. And of course he says no, and he doesn't want that to happen, and he puts them off, but they go through all of these trials. And this is like crazy stuff that they decide to do. So they like balance on one leg for 1,000 years, and then they, are standing in a fire for 10,000 years, just insane things, right? Because they really, really want dominion over everything. So finally, Brahma sort of has to relent at some point because they're just, really showing that they're not going to let up. So he says, okay, you can have everything, and no man will ever be able to cut you down or will ever be able to challenge your authority. So we already know where this is going, right? No man can challenge their authority or cut them down, but there's no mention of a woman. So they rule over everything and basically turn everything into this whole, demon kingdom for eons and eons and eons. So you can think of it just as like a really, 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 really long time that they are ruling. And as you might imagine, they're demon gods, so everything is pretty horrible. And the people that live in this world that is ruled over by these asuras, they just don't know what to do anymore. They've tried everything and they don't know what to do, and they are still under the thumb of these demon gods. And so one day, this wise sage comes to town and is talking to some of the people and says to them, "Why don't you go to the goddess? Why haven't you petitioned the goddess yet? Go to her temple. She is waiting for you to ask for her help." And this part of the story I always find really fascinating because Durga could come down and help at any point. She knows the loophole. She knows the terms of the agreement. But she chooses not to until she is asked to come and help. And I think this is a really good lesson for us just to think about, especially in times like this where maybe we need help in myriad ways, that, we have to ask for what we need from the people that are in our lives. We can't just assume that everyone's going to help us out in the way that we would like to be helped. So we really have to petition. We have to ask for help in the way that we need it. So, a few more thousand years go by because she's not just going to come down for, one prayer. But everyone sort of bands together and petitions the goddess and goes to her temple and, begs her to come down. Please come down and help us out. So finally, after however long of time she decides is appropriate, she comes down to this earth kingdom. And she's riding a lion, of course she's riding a lion. Sometimes it's a tiger, but it's some sort of majestical cat-like being in the legends. And she is just striking. She's the most beautiful woman that you have ever laid eyes on. Anyone who sees her falls madly in love with her. But she is also a warrior goddess, so she is very, very fierce. She's very loyal. She's extremely protective. Again, she's the mama goddess. She's the mama bear. So if somebody hurts her cubs or, hurts the people that she cares about, she does step in and she does help whenever she's asked to. So she's everything. She's every single thing that you would want to be or that you would want in a friend or, anyone really that's in your life. So she comes down and says, "All right, I'm here to help." And she goes to the palace of these two demon gods, and they, send their lackey down to answer the door, and he does, and of course falls madly in love with her immediately, and thinks, jackpot, this woman just sort of delivered herself into our laps, and I'm going to present her as a gift to my bosses because they could really use a companion. And so he basically tells her that and says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're here. My bosses are, have been waiting for a companion like you, and no one is worthy of them, but you totally are." So she's like, "Okay, great. That sounds good. But there's this silly little thing, this promise that I made to myself whenever I was a girl, that since I come from a warrior race of people, that I have to marry someone who is my equal in battle. I have to meet your bosses on the battlefield." And so, of course, he's just like, "Lady, you're absolutely insane. Do you know who they are? They're just going to mow you down right where you stand." And she's like, "Right, well, okay, haha, but it's this silly little girlish promise that I made to myself, so I already asked you once, please go get them." So he goes up, he tells them, and they, of course, don't think anything of it, and they're like, "Go deal with her, dispatch her," basically. So he goes down and is not able to do that. She just kills him immediately. And then they start sending more people, and they start sending almost like armies of people, and she's still just mowing them down in the field. So it's on, right? She's bringing out the big guns. And finally they're like, okay, fine, we'll deal with this ourselves. So they go down and, there's a few other things that happen, of course, in the story, but finally they go down. And at one point, Durga births Kali, who is another really, really crazy, amazing warrior goddess from her third eye center. And Kali helps her. And, she's just pulling out all of her weaponry, all of the things, her bow and arrow, her mace, her sword, her lion is in there helping her, of course. And so finally she meets the two demon gods on the field and then dispatches them. And that is sort of the end of that. And when these two demon gods die, they are also, it's said that they are absorbed back into her own body. And if we think of these gods as being driven by ego and being driven by greed and, all of those things, all of these vices, that in and of itself is also a metaphor and a strong piece of symbolism that whenever the ego is dissolved, whenever the ego goes away, everything comes back into the mother. Everything comes back into Mother Earth. Everything goes back into this harmonious, symbiotic sort of space where things can go back to normal, basically. So that is the story of Durga. And one of the many reasons why she resonates so much is because she is all of the things. She sort of tells us through her story that you don't have to be any one thing. You can be all of the things that you want to be. She has the lion and the mace and the sword and the bow and arrow and Kali that comes and helps. But she also carries prayer beads, and she also carries a lotus flower. And she's the most beautiful, but she's also this fierce warrior goddess. And she tells us through her story and through her being that we don't have to choose which part of ourselves we want to be. We can be all of the things. We can be as big and as bold and larger than life as we want to be. And that's actually a blessing, and that's a gift to those around us. So that's the story of Durga. And you can, of course, read more about her online, or, if you grab this book, there's a bunch of meditations in here, and she's amazing. So we're going to go ahead and get into the kirtan portion, the chanting portion. And we're going to sing this little song. It's pretty easy to remember. We're going to sing it 3 full times through. So you're welcome to kind of join in on the second and third time if you want, or you can just listen. That's participating as well. I apologize in advance to my mother for all the money that she spent on voice lessons for me that I've completely wasted, and to my voice teachers. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat when you're ready. And close your eyes if it feels okay for you to close your eyes. And you can begin by listening and join in whenever you feel comfortable joining in. Hey, hey, Mahalakshmi. Hey, hey, Saraswati. Hey, hey, Mata Kali. Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga. Hey Ma Durga. Hey Ma Durga. Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey, hey, Mahalakshmi. Hey, hey, Saraswati. Hey, hey, Mata Kali. Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Last time. Hey, hey Mahalakshmi, Hey, hey Saraswati, Hey, hey Mata Kali, Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma, Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Hey Ma Durga, Jagatambe Jai Jai Ma. Staying in your comfortable seat or finding any other shape that feels good for you right now. Maybe you can lie down on a pillow. Begin to imagine yourself on the very top of a snow-capped mountain. You're so high up above the clouds. In a warm little hut. And everything's very still and quiet. The kind of stillness that happens after a snowfall. And it's so still and so quiet that you can really hear nature itself. You can hear the air, you can hear the clouds, you can hear the sky. And you feel completely calm, completely at peace, completely one with Mother Earth. And you begin to walk outside of your hut. Still calm, still at peace, still warm. And you look up into the sky at the sun. And you feel that sun's warmth, and once again you feel completely connected to it, to its life force. And slowly you begin to see a rift in the sky. And you see Mother Durga, the goddess herself, coming down to bless you with her presence, with her light, with her protection. And as as she comes closer, you begin to notice just how resplendent she is. She is astride her golden lion. She's robed in jewels and robes that are silky and soft. And as she gets ever closer to you, you can feel that she is asking you what you need from her. Why have you called her here? Why have you summoned her? What is it that you need her help with? And you answer her question. What is it? Why have you called her? Why have you summoned her? Why do you need her? And she looks deep into your eyes. And she tells you that she will answer this summons. She will answer your call. And her answer might come to you in the form of words right now, in her presence. Or it might show up in your life a few days from now. A few weeks from now. Her answer might come to you in the form of an image or the help from a loved one or a stranger. But she will answer. And just as quickly as she came down to be in your presence, she begins to leave, but she leaves you with a full sense of knowing that she is here with you always. That all you have to do is ask for her help, and you will receive it. Take as long as you need in whatever shape you find yourself in. When you are ready to return to your physical presence, to your physical body, do that with kindness, with love. Do it with the knowledge that you carry Durga with you. She's always there, and she's waiting to be called upon. If only we ask for her help.